Welcome back to a new episode of Math Talk. I am joined today on the sunny beaches of Edmonton with my very good friend, Doctor. I can't say his last name, even though he's my very good friend. I think of him as Eugene or Yevgeny. Oh, I'm clipping the mic because I'm loud. Maybe you want to say your last name for the audience.
Okay, so drum roll, it's Bilokopytov. It means white hoof in Russian, Ukrainian.
Dr. Whitehoof. That actually sounds pretty good.
Maybe I'm a native Canadian.
Maybe you are. That's true. So yeah, maybe just to kick things off, do you want to just tell the audience what your current research interests are? Just like a brief overview.
Okay, so I'm working in function analysis. Specifically, the subtopic is called vector lattices. So perhaps many viewers will know what a lattice is. It's a partially ordered set in which every two elements have supremum and infimum, and then if on top of this you also have a vector space structure and the algebraic and order structures are compatible, then you end up with a vector lattice. And then many of the spaces that function analysis studies are in fact vector lattices, like spaces of continuous functions or space of measurable functions. So yeah, we just look at these spaces from this kind of order theoretic point of view. Yeah.
And so how I usually begin, well, I guess we already began, but the sort of questions I like to do early on is talking about your initial exposure to mathematics. How did you first get interested in math? Were did you have talents at an early age, or was it a bit later? Was there like a person or book that inspired you? Like, how did you first discover mathematics?
So I think my parents claimed that I have talent kind of right from the very beginning, and at some point it was also recognized by my school teacher. So in Ukraine, where I grew up, we don't really have this distinction between elementary school, middle school, and high school. It's just school. So the teacher sent me to an Olympiad of some low level, and I did reasonably well. So next year she sent me to an Olympiad of the city level. So I'm from Kiev in Ukraine, and I did well there as well. And then on that Olympiad, I met with the teacher who was somewhat famous in Kiev because he was a good math teacher, and specifically he specialized in teaching kids who would take part in Olympiads and stuff. And essentially he used that Olympiad as a kind of recruiting event. So my parents also came with me, and they also met him, and somehow they liked him, and they recommended that I go study with him next year, and this is what I've done. And there were many kids who were recruited this way, so they were interested in Olympiads. So the next 4 years I regularly took part in those Olympiads, mostly inside of Ukraine, but a few times we also went back then the relationships between Ukraine and Russia were much better, so we went to Russia a few times, and mostly it was a lot of fun, and especially I liked problems in like planimetry with triangles and circles, and so then I guess in the interest of honesty, let me just say that I mostly just followed my other friends who went to study mathematics in the university.
What do you mean by that? Like, you were less motivated by your own interests and you're more motivated by just doing what your friends were doing?
Well,
or?
It's not like I wanted to imitate them. It's just I didn't really know what I want to do in life. So, but then there were more motivated friends who decided actively that they want to study mathematics, and because they were my friends, I decided, okay, I could just follow the crowd. And yeah, so this is how I got to studying mathematics at Kiev University, and there was an exchange program between that university and University of Manitoba in Winnipeg. Although I think formally it was called exchange program, but it only worked in one direction. So I don't think there was anybody from Winnipeg who ended up in Kiev.
So what about your like during your time in undergrad? Were there courses that you took or something that began to shape your taste in mathematics further at all?
Yes. So let me maybe also mention that.
Keep chatting.
Okay.
I'm grabbing my tea.
Okay. I really didn't like stuff in the first year. Didn't like calculus, didn't like linear algebra, didn't like
Yeah, fair. Those are
discrete
garbage.
mathematics. But these are not like the way it's taught in the, I guess, Soviet system is not the same as it is taught in the Western or like
Oh, you
North
do it
American
properly
system.
with proofs.
Yeah, we do it properly, but I still found it. Actually, I didn't find it boring. I just didn't like it. I actually struggled with some of the things, but somehow it didn't pique my interest, and so I was very apathetic during the first year. But then again, I'm not a very decisive person, so I just stayed there. And in the second year, there were more interesting things like beginnings of like metric geometry in second year calculus, and beginnings of measure theory also. So yeah, also general topology, and I finally started liking what I'm studying.
Right.
I thought that I wanted to do general topology, but yeah, somehow it didn't happen. But that was the first thing that interested me a lot.
I see.
Then in the third year there was function analysis course. Yeah, so by then I knew roughly what I'm interested in, some kind of abstract analysis.
Right. So then the exchange program,
Yeah.
you saw this opportunity, and yeah, do you like pick who you want to work with ahead of time or something, or like how does that happen?
Well, yeah, you have to write. You're supposed to write the name of your prospective supervisor in the application. So I looked through the list, and there were a few people who did. There was one person who did general topology, and I think 3 people who did function analysis. But the guy who did general topology, I think he was on the way out of the department.
Is that Sasha?
No, that was Gabor Lukash.
Oh, okay. I don't think I
Okay.
know.
Well, okay. The viewers can actually Google him. Maybe they will find some fun information about him.
Yeah, actually, maybe I should also pause to mention how we know each other is through my time at the University of Manitoba. I think before I started my master's,
yes.
and I was still in undergrad, but like taking some courses there. So, yeah.
But the way we met is related to mathematics, but kind of in a indirect way.
Okay.
Like we didn't meet through mathematics. We met through a friend of ours. Like all of us studied mathematics, but like we didn't meet in a classroom or something.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, that guy. Okay, maybe let me mention. So he was actually, I think he sued the department, and then because of that, he was fired or something.
Whoa, what?
Yeah.
Wait, couldn't...
So I don't know if this information is public.
Wait, does this have to do with, I remember hearing back a while ago, there was some story about a student who failed their quals, but the university was going to push them through anyways. Yeah. This was that.
That's
okay.
That, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so there was some kind of sordid affair, and as a result, he ended up on the way out. So that's one person of the list, and then, well, somehow, because I was not the first person who took advantage of the program, I knew already several people there, so I asked their advices, and that's how I chose Nina as my supervisor.
And then yeah. So then, what did you start working on at that point? And so that you were doing a master's at first,
Yeah.
there, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so Nina, Dr. Nina Zarboska, her research area is Banach spaces of analytic functions. So, well, there are some very natural spaces of functions that you can define. Okay, again, let me maybe give a couple of examples. So you can take a domain in the complex plane and consider all analytic functions, and then intersect that, or yeah, right. So intersect the space of all analytic functions on a given domain with also LP over the same domain, and then you can prove that this is actually under the LP norm. This is still a Banach space, and so it's a supernatural, well, supernatural object to study. Or, for example, even more well-known Hardy space, you take functions, homomorphic analytic functions on the unidisk, consider their Taylor series expansion, and then consider only those where the Taylor coefficients are in L2, little L2. So square summable.
Okay.
And yeah, you can also prove that it's a Banach space, and then essentially after you define those spaces, you can also define some operators on those spaces, like composition operators. So you have, say, a map between two domains, and then you take all functions in the first space, and then you compose them with this map, and that gives you functions in the other spaces, or something like that. And then you can study, for example, correspondence between properties, geometric properties or topological properties of that map with function analytic properties of the operators that are induced. So this is like a general overview of that area, and I try to do something along those lines. The problem was for me that I'm more into abstract things, whereas this area is more into concrete things. So they value strength of the results rather than breadth.
I see.
And yeah, so specifically Nina gave me this one paper to study, which was a generalization of one of those spaces to the setting of several variables. And yeah, so I tried to look into that paper. There were some... Okay, I guess what kind of launched my own research were some lemmas which I thought were very specific. They were like a lot of effort was spent on proving something. I think specifically the fact that the space that they were considering was actually a Banach space was done kind of ad hoc with a lot of effort, and I thought that this kind of arguments, these arguments I already seen before, and so I came up with some kind of abstract version of that. Although later I found that something like that already existed, but
the life of a mathematician.
Yeah, but that gave me an idea that maybe this area kind of lacks an axiomatic theory, where you just start with an assumption that you have a Banach space embedded into space of analytic functions over a domain with this and that properties, and that property implies that other property, and so on and so on. And this is essentially the niche that I carved out for myself inside of that area, but with higher level of generality.
And that's sort of the main thing that still occupies you today, on what you're working on today?
No. So this was what I was doing for PhD, but then after I finished, I had to look for postdocs, and I found it here in Edmonton, which...
the sunny beaches of Edmonton. You got to say the full name.
Right. So that kind of forced me or induced me to change area towards what my current supervisor is doing. And it was a better match with my tastes, because here kind of abstraction is valued more. So I hope that one day I will still come back to that stuff that I was doing in Winnipeg, or rather on sunny beaches of Winnipeg.
Right. Yes, sunny beaches of Winnipeg.
And resurrect those sunny memories. And I still have some material from my thesis that I haven't published. So maybe one day I will come back to that.
I wonder how universal of an experience this is. Like, do most mathematicians go to their deathbed thinking like, one day I'll extend those results from my master's thesis or my PhD thesis? Because, for example, for my master's thesis, there's results that I want to push. There's a part of me that like I want to push those results further, but of course, the longer it's been for me that I've spent away from that, it's like, I'm drifting further away from these things, and it may come harder to come back and pick up the thread, or maybe someone else will do it. But and I do think about it every now and again, but I'm also, I feel like I'm still hung up on the same place where I don't know how to get around it. But there's still a part of me in my heart where I'm like, I want to extend those results.
Yeah, but maybe one day you will get a student of your own, and you could
right.
That student.
That's smart. That's smart. Keep that in mind. Yeah, actually, there is some of these. So we were talking earlier about what I consider to be silly little bullshit problems, and how these silly little bullshit problems makes me happy. And actually, I kind of want to make a career out of working on, or like if money was no object, I would just spend most of my days working on silly little bullshit problems.
So if you want to make Kristaps happy, like and subscribe.
Yes, like
and tell your friends about this channel.
Exactly. I think this is the first time on my channel I've ever done a call out to like and subscribe. I probably should, but well, now it's broken. Now the streak is broken. I may as well tell you that I have a Piatic hat. There's a link in the description to go buy a Piatic hat and sign up for my Patreon as well.
So this is the beginning of your descent into being a sellout.
Yes, I've totally. In fact, not only have I totally sold out this last week, because on Friday, yesterday, well, this is far in the future for you guys now, but I put out my first video with a paid sponsorship from Brilliant. Oh. So I officially sold out yesterday to become an ad man. But anywho, there's some like maybe quasi bullshit problem I've been working on, and I was talking about with another professor at the University of Calgary, and his recommendation was actually I should save this problem to have an undergrad work on in the future for like a summer research project, like if I go forward in academia and I'm in that role. So
yeah, sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But it's hard for me to let go of this because I feel like a certain emotional attachment to this problem. But I guess I'll still be connected to it, even if I give it away. If you love an open problem, set it free, and if the proof comes back to you, it was yours or something. I don't know.
Well, I really think that in mathematics we shouldn't be too greedy, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. I do have these feelings of there's certain problems. So this one thing I have in mind. It's some mixing. Actually, we've talked about it before, and I have proved some results since then. I now have something to say about it. I think I was telling you once about some graph theory meets representation theory type stuff, okay. And yeah, I guess I really have a mentality of I want to collaborate with people. I want to write papers together. I was also telling you about some other side project I'm working on that I think this will be my happiest work. I think in part because it'd be something I'd be publishing with friends. And I feel like nothing makes me happier than that idea of like having my name on a paper beside my friend, like to me this is the ideal, publishing math with friends, but there is a part of me that's like emotionally attached to this little graph theory thing. Like there's a part of me that wants like paper number 1 to just be my name, and then maybe I have collaborators afterwards. I don't know how you feel about such things, but
I don't know. I think I'm at the stage when I can be generous.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like I know people that have had maybe conflicts with different, projects that intersect too much, and people feeling like they're stepping on each other's toes and stuff. And definitely, I mean, um, people are chasing similar kinds of problems just in the general research literature. And definitely for early career researchers like someone at my stage, yeah, do need to think more about producing papers with your own name on it to try and stand out.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. Did you feel a lot of these pressures earlier on in your post PhD life? Or late PhD life? Well, you said you had like 3 papers from your PhD, right? Is that typical
No,
from
I think there's more.
there's more. Okay.
During my PhD, yeah, I think I only published one during the PhD, but after that, I published, I think in total like 8.
Oh wow.
But no, not all of them were directly related to what was in the dissertation, but
Right.
kind
Right.
of in that general niche which you described.
I see.
But yeah, so I think in the late stages of PhD, when I only had, I think, 2 published papers, I felt pressure. But soon-ish after that, like I said, I published several more. And yeah, now I don't feel like I have lack of papers. I have lack of papers in good journals, though. So this is something that I hope to achieve one day.
I see. I mean, 8 papers, that seems like a lot to me, but I know that this depends very much on fields, right? Like I know, for instance, is my understanding that, for instance, like in graph theory, it's common to have quite a few publications come out of your PhD. So would you say that it's common in your area to have like that many publications come out of your PhD, or is that are you atypical in that sense?
Yeah, I don't know, like, because I'm not even sure I can say that it came out of my PhD.
Sure. Okay. Sure.
But I think like at the stage, let's say at the moment when I came to Edmonton, which was like a year and a half after my PhD, I had published something like 8 papers, or at least submitted 8 papers, and I think it's not that atypical. I think it's kind of within the normal range.
Well, I don't know if this actually. So we were talking earlier about fact checking things and just parroting results. Someone in my comment section recently said something to the effect of like the average number of papers. The mathematicians produce 2 papers a year on average. Do you think you produce 2 papers a year on average, or is this your experience? Is that common in the field? Is it higher? Is it lower?
Well, I also heard this estimate of 2 papers per year, and yeah, I produce. I don't know. It's uneven, but I think it averages out to 2-3 papers per year for me.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, to me that seems pretty good. I feel like there's a lot of work that goes into writing papers, but I guess it gets easier with time. You
Yes.
Get used to the process and find ways to get the idea out from your head to the publisher quicker over time, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I don't know. Any tips and tricks for that for me and or the audience?
Collaborators help.
Going back to math and sharing.
Yeah. Sometimes just existence of collaborators helps somehow. Because it organizes you.
Right.
On the other hand, I can imagine very well if it's too many collaborators, it can get too messy.
Right, too many cooks in the kitchen.
No, actually, no. That's not the issue. The issue is just that you are stretched too thin.
How so?
Like if you have, okay, maybe I didn't explain correctly. Like if you have a paper with several collaborators, that's probably fine. But if you have simultaneously many projects with many different people, again, it just stretches you too thin.
Right. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Maybe there are issues if you have a single paper with too many collaborators too. Like I'm working on a paper with 5 collaborators right now, and yeah, there are some coordination issues, but I wouldn't say they are very severe.
I mean, do you always choose ahead of time? Like, what does the process look like for that work? Because I know, like, ideally you should have the paper should be in one voice, right? So at the end of the day, there should be like one person that's in charge of sort of putting everything together. But how does the process work about like do you guys have like a shared overlay file or GitHub thing, and then everyone works like on their separate chapters, and then at the end one person comes through and puts everything in a single voice? Or like, I don't know, is it different all the time? Like how's it worked for you? How's it working for you now in this project, for example?
In that project, I'm actually the one who is in charge of writing.
Okay.
So other people would write some relatively smaller pieces, send them to me, and then I would kind of weave them in the general narrative.
Okay. And then do you guys like meet regularly to like read through versions together and ask each other questions? Because like, you know, so like in one of these side projects I'm working on, there's contributions that I've made to a certain part of it, but there's certain other things in the paper that like I don't quite understand fully yet, and I definitely want to understand it more just out of my own curiosity. But I feel like, okay, if I'm going to put my name on this paper with other people, like I want to be able to have some ability to explain the extra things. So like, is there anything like that, or do people generally have everyone has an understanding of all the pieces, or how does that work?
So this project is not representative because again I'm the one who is writing everything, so
I see.
I definitely understand everything.
I see.
So maybe my collaborators could be in the situation that you described.
Right.
But then there was a previous project that I had actually also with a lot of collaborators, with 4 collaborators, and there was one specific piece that I didn't understand, and I just decided to ignore it. But it was like a page or maybe page and a half out of 30 pages.
Right. Okay.
Paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's fine if you don't understand a small piece and it
Sure.
is somehow important to another person.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
But probably it's not fine if you only understand your piece.
Right. Right. Yeah. 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 But yeah, I mean, it makes sense, especially if one had a very large. If it was a very large project or something that was very interdisciplinary, where you have fields that are further away from each other, then yeah, it's going to be more susceptible to that. But then still, yeah, like you say, you want to have some understanding of the bridges and whatnot.
Well, let me tell. I'm not sure if I ever told you this story. So I have a paper in machine learning, and the way it came about was that I answered somebody's question on matter flow, and that person reached out to me and suggested collaboration. So essentially, I wrote. So there was some kind of problem that he was able to translate into pure math language, and I could solve it. So to be honest, I could be replaced with, I don't know, maybe not every other pure mathematician, but like many other people would be able to solve it. But I was lucky to actually do it and post it on Matterflow, so that's how I got a publication. But I couldn't really understand. So he wrote a paper mostly by himself. I only was responsible for like this mathematical part, and I cannot say I understand the applied part.
So there you go. When you spend a bunch of time on Math Overflow, you know, it's not actually a waste of time. You're just seeking future collaborators, is all.
Yeah, but that's actually, I don't think it's a unique case. I know some people who start collaboration from that kind of exchanges on Metaflow.
This happens a lot?
Well, I don't know how often, but I know other examples. Is this how you normally conduct interviews?
Yeah, it's chaotic. I could edit it out if I wanted to. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, there are a lot of... actually, I have seen some papers that, like, in their abstract, they cite math overflow as it stemming from, some discussion. Yeah.
So I benefited from math overflow a lot. Not only I get this collaboration, but also I often have relatively small technical questions which I post, and sometimes people help, and in acknowledgements to like half of my papers I usually have thanks to such and such
Right.
for helping me with such and such result, and thanks to math overflow.
Oh, thanks. You thank math overflow itself?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, I guess. And what about, so speaking of your interest in...
So actually, sorry,
Oh.
I would like to also give another anecdote about like collaborations and like tips. So that paper that I also mentioned a minute ago, where I don't understand a small piece. So the way how it came about was I was on a conference, and this guy gave a talk which I found somewhat interesting. So after his talk, I just came up to him. We had maybe like a 10-minute conversation. I sent him some other paper that I thought could be relevant, and that was it. And then a few months later, I just received an email from him saying that he has this project, and we had this conversation where you expressed interest in this stuff. So if you want, you can join us. And so it was not just to me, it was to a whole bunch of other people, out of which a couple decided not to join, but several did join. And yeah, that turned out to be a paper. I think it's not a bad one, even though the beginning of it was kind of random.
Right.
So, like just these random interactions sometimes can lead to, fruitful collaborations.
I do have someone, I might have even mentioned this in a recent interview, but there is somebody who reached out to me via YouTube to ask me to collaborate on a paper.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, at the time though I said no because I was freaking out about getting my thesis done on time. But now that's not an issue. I've been meaning to email them again. So, if anyone's out there watching, still watching this episode, feel free to reach out, I guess, if you think there's something I can collaborate on. I need papers. I need papers right now. So, but I did want to go back and revisit, because, you mentioned quite a bit earlier, your part of your initial entry into mathematics was through competition problems. And you still have an interest in this, right? I mean, you still think about this sometimes, maybe casually. I mean,
Not really.
No, not really.
Yeah.
I thought you had said you had submitted, or there were some problems you were thinking about submitting. Like one time when I came to visit you.
Okay. So perhaps, so I don't remember telling you this, but maybe it refers to the following. So after after finishing the school and entering university, like I said, I really was not enthusiastic about the material. So what I did instead was kind of holding on to the stuff that I used to like, which was planimetry. And I started composing my own problems. And in the course of that year, I composed like a shitload of of problems. And I would send them to local competitions in Ukraine. One actually ended up even in like some kind of short list for International Math Olympiad.
Oh.
Yeah, but after that I finally got interested in
Right.
real math, and I
see.
don't have time and energy for that anymore.
Right, I see.
So again, like similarly to how you said, like I'm perhaps naive to think that I will come back to those
right.
topics which I explored in Winnipeg.
Right.
I also hope that one day I will have time to, look through the list of problems that I created and
Right.
do something with them.
Right. Well, I mean, it could be that wherever you end up, like maybe there'll be, undergrads there that have some competition math club or something, and they'll seek guidance. So I know someone at an undergrad at my university was asking me recently if I knew anyone that had in the department that had math competition experience. Because I know actually, even though it's a much smaller university, in my undergrad there was a professor there that ran sessions for the Putnam. So there was like Putnam training every year, and I never studied very hard. I participated every year, but I like barely studied at all. But there doesn't seem to be any such program at Calgary. So I mean, maybe one way in which you can make use of these things in these old desires and reconnect with these old interests is in the future where you end up like running some sort of math competition training program or something.
Yeah, I suppose it's possible theoretically, but I think I had an opportunity to do this here in Edmonton, and I just don't have,
Right.
well, mostly energy. It's not about time, it's mostly
Right.
energy.
Although I wonder, like, do you think such things could count? Because at like a lot of institutions, you have something like, you need like 3 credits. You need to do 3 credits of work a semester, and like that can be contributed from editing.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Have it taking students, teaching courses, whatever. So I mean, it could be. I don't know if this would count. Maybe it's just extracurricular volunteer stuff, but maybe it could count. You spending time on that could count towards one of those credits.
Yeah,
And then the energy is displacing other work you would be doing otherwise.
yeah, so I will be essentially forced back into that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, let's hope, I guess, that it will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I guess I misunderstood. I thought. I thought you had still been doing some of that. But so you've kept all these problems. Are they all like written down somewhere? Are they all just like in your head? Like.
Oh no, I long forgotten them. They all were somewhere on my computer.
Oh, I see. In an older computer, or have you been dragging? They're in the. Have you had the same running computer for a long time? Because you have a desktop, right? Is this?
Well, no, that's not the same desktop as I used in Kiev in 2008.
I see.
Yeah, so I
But
just,
you migrated them over.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's another thing. I've burned through several laptops in recent years now, and
doing too much video editing, I suppose.
I don't know if actually it's been more hardware wear and tear. No, my last couple laptops have all broken at the hinges. That's what it's been, and that's why I decided to get a Lenovo this time, because allegedly they're more durable. Hashtag not now. Hashtag I'm a sellout now though. So Lenovo, like, get at me. I'll sell your laptops for you on my channel, 100%. But should I approach Lenovo? Is that weird as a YouTuber if I reach out to the companies that I want to sell products for? Maybe that's weird, but I would rather. I'm a sellout either way, but I would rather sell products that I actually believe in.
I think I've heard in a YouTube video something like that the host said that they reached out to the company and offered to advertise their products. So I think it's possible.
I guess it even makes, for the company's perspective, it makes it for a better ad, because then I would say, oh yeah, the company didn't even reach out to me. I reached out to them because I love this company so much. So I got to start thinking more capitalistic here if I'm going to take over the world, which I will one day eventually with my math cult.
Do your viewers know about your nefarious intentions?
They will now.
Do they know about immortality thing?
They do know. I think a lot of them, at least regular viewers in my live streams, will know that I want to live forever, and I've wanted to live forever for some time.
Forever, since forever.
Since forever. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I didn't desire anything before I was born, as far as I can tell. I'm pretty sure I didn't exist before I was born. So, yeah.
Even in a Platonic world.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I'm an anti-Platonist, though. So, yeah, I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I'm never wrong. So,
This I didn't know about.
what?
That you never know. That's
You
news
didn't
to
know
me.
that? Oh, I thought that's why we were friends. I thought you thought I was smart and had all the answers, and that's why you
I
wanted
thought that's
to
my
hang out
role.
with me. Oh, oh, we're both very confused about the nature of this friendship. Then, wow, what an awkward time for us to make this discovery in front of the camera. Um, yeah. So okay, so you've been in Edmonton now for 4 years.
5.
For 5 years. For 5 years, and you're moving on to new things.
Yeah.
Right? Do you want to talk about those new things?
No, because I'm too ashamed of the mess that I created.
Well, it's too late. It's already out there. They know your name, and they know your area. People are gonna track down your papers now.
Yeah, but hopefully they will be doing it after I complete the transition and.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, I think we've dipped a little bit into our your philosophy of mathematics. I mean, it seems like you like breadth and to build things up as opposed to you said you prefer breadth and abstraction towards like strength of results and particular. I don't know. Can you say anything more about your general philosophy of mathematics? And then also one question that I sometimes like to ask is about Platonism versus non-Platonism. You know, mathematics as discovered or not, or as a artistic pursuit, which I think you view it as, versus a scientific pursuit, or maybe it's a mix. I don't know.
Okay, you have to go into these questions one by one. You dumped too much on me.
Well, okay.
So abstraction versus, I strongly prefer kind of axiomatic theories, but then I still want them to have enough of. Okay, this is purely subjective, but in some theories, I can, even though the definition is very abstract, I can see some kind of geometric intuition behind it, or maybe some other intuition, but in some I don't. So like usually abstraction is associated with algebra, modern analysis, and as you know from our discussions, I usually really struggle to understand like the definitions in algebra often because I don't understand the intuition behind them. And also, well, I guess it's a side point, but usually in algebra the theories grow in complexity very fast. Whereas in analysis, usually you just have some kind of property that some object has and you just isolate it out. So you kind of know already what it does. You just find like a more abstract language to talk about it.
I mean, somehow the way you've described it doesn't sound different from my experience of algebra.
Yeah, maybe it's just my personal deficiency.
Well, it could also be like, because when we're discussing these things, right? I mean, I'm telling you about some thing here, and then there's, it does get built up in layers until you get here, but I'm trying to go from like 0 to 100.
Yeah, but it grows faster in algebra. There are like somehow, but this is what we spoke about earlier today, that even to start working in your area, you have to learn so much stuff.
Right.
And I don't think this is the case in analysis. Of course, you still need to have some kind of background.
Yeah.
But it's not as extensive.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. So then, what about math as a creative pursuit versus math as a
scientific?
Sure.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
But then I don't understand why is it a contradiction?
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not necessarily a contradiction.
What do you mean by scientific? I guess.
Well, I guess maybe another way to ask the question is about creative or discovered. Like, yeah, do you view it as like you are creating these worlds, or do you view it as you're carving out some sort of shape that already exists? You know, you're mining in the mines of math to dig out these little nuggets of gold, or are you building structures? Would you say?
Yeah, I don't know. Somehow it both. Like,
Mm.
and I always struggle with it. So like, once you fix some kind of language, then
Mm.
potentially you already have everything that can be said in that language. So
Right.
then, then everything is kind of discovered then.
Right.
But then you wouldn't say that like a novel is discovered,
Hmm.
even though theoretically this string of letters already exists somehow.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Well, I was about to say that it does seem, though, that in writing a novel, it's a lot less like, because in mathematics, there's just certain things that are true or not from the axiom. So it's somehow more inevitable, seemingly. Whereas in the novel, in the writing of the novel, it's maybe less inevitable. But actually, I don't know if that's necessarily true, right? Because the you're constrained by in written language, like you're constrained by the rules of grammar, or maybe even more freely because people can play with grammar, is sort of like coherence of the concept, right? Like the
Yeah.
words have to be in some kind of order in order for it to make sense.
Yeah, it's
And
just there you have to follow some kind of linguistic rules or rules
right,
of like stuff to make sense, whereas we have to follow
right,
rules of like mathematical truthfulness.
right. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I've never really thought about it that way, and this lends to thinking more of the book as being discovered,
Yeah, but
though,
that
which is
would be
kind of
bizarre
a
to talk about it this way.
yeah, yeah, that's true, that's true. But do you think it would be bizarre? Like, it seems less bizarre to talk about mathematics in this way.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
and maybe this is what makes mathematics science because we do kind of discover stuff.
right, right, yeah,
But it seems like, at least I struggle to find an actual formal, you know, argumentation to distinguish one from another.
right. I feel like this is the case with like most things in the world and most questions. Though when you zoom to in, now we're getting into like Wittgenstein territory, who I always quote, but who I've never really read, so I don't know what I'm actually talking about. But he says that all the problems in philosophy are really just language games,
Right.
and anytime we zoom in deep enough into some particular topic, eventually it just comes down to something like the vagueness of language is always what's ultimately inhibiting further discussion. Like when you zoom into anything, the well-definedness of seemingly anything just breaks down, and it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know. I feel a similar way about debates of free will and whatnot.
I never understood the concept of free will, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, I understand that it feels like you have free will, but if we live in, from what we know about physics, right, it's either
Right,
determinism or randomness,
right,
none of which is free.
right, right. Yeah,
So I don't even understand what it is then.
yeah, yeah. I feel this way as well, but then so I don't know. Somehow there are people that still I don't know. I
Well,
don't know.
it kind of contradicts our experience.
Yes, exactly.
But then I don't think we can adequately explain what is actually subjective experience, the kind of hard problem of consciousness thing.
Right, right. Yeah.
I'm sort of pessimistic about this. I think that these questions are impossible to study.
Hmm. Hmm. Like the hard problem of
Yeah,
consciousness, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or something like origins of the universe, because we are inside of the universe, so I'm not sure if we can So I'm purely like this is a pure speculation. I have
Mm.
basically no knowledge of physics,
Mm.
but I feel like we are inside of a universe. So, and I feel like in order to study something, you have to have some kind of external point of view.
Right, right. Very, very Gödelian, if we may. I mean, I know it's a classic thing to abuse the meaning and use of Gödel's theorems, but I do think that this idea, at least by analogy, can carry over, right? That like if you're inside a sufficiently strong formal system, then there's always some sort of truth about the system that you can't actually deduce from within that system. So if one views the universe as some sort of formal system where the state of the universe, like it evolves, through you imagine each moment is just the evolution of the state of some massive Turing machine of sorts, and then except it's a broken Turing machine because there's quantum randomness tossed in maybe. Then yeah, it stands to it makes perfect sense that then there's going to be some truth about our universe that's not accessible from within the universe. That makes perfect sense to me. Yeah, yeah. I mean, certainly it must be. I mean, in some sense, Gödel's theorem does prove this, right? Because like we can build a physical computer that will run some, whatever the program that we don't know if will halt or not, but maybe there's somehow, if one could imagine an observer from outside the universe could reason, possibly could see the halting of this program, but we can't. What one could imagine something like this. I don't know.
But do we know, in fact, that the universe is some kind of formal? Well, can it be formalized as a Turing machine?
Why not? What do you mean? What do we know? I mean, this is the weird thing, right? About the interpretability of physics, and like, because like nothing in the real world is anything in math, in my opinion, right? So it's like we can use things that we construct in mathematics to model things in the physical world, but like there is no set in the physical world. Like there is like a set is just some formal thing described by some axioms. Like there is no real number or natural number in the real world. These are all just like these mathematical constructs that we try to map on to the real world, but they never map onto the real world perfectly. So of course, like by analogy, in the same way that we take a spherical cow and look at the aerodynamics of it and still figure out what's going to happen. Sorry, I'm trying to turn off this background noise here. There's some spherical, spherical cow solutions in the same way. Yeah, I think of course we can model the world as a Turing machine. I mean, we can model like we have a mathematical definition of a Turing machine, and that's supposed to capture the like a computer in the real world. But somehow these things aren't actually they can't map perfectly onto each other.
But then, how can you apply Gödel's theorem to the physical universe?
Well, you can't. I mean, that's so. I'm not saying that we should like quite literally apply it. Well, but in the same way, I don't know how can you apply. You could say the same thing as like how could we apply the mean value theorem to something in the like physical world, but we still can, like somehow it still works, like somehow even though this isn't a perfect analogy, it still works or works approximately.
Yeah, but you have to somehow explain exactly how is a continuous function or whatever, a model of whatever you are modeling. So how exactly are you modeling universe in a Turing machine?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to sit down and think about it more carefully.
But there is kind of an opposite point of view about relationship between math and physics. At least I've heard it somewhere that in fact physics is just math. So like if you go deep enough, somehow there's nothing but math.
Right.
Have you heard something like that?
Kind of, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it does seem at the end of the day, like our treatment of particles and of space time and everything just comes down to like abstract mathematical entities. And I do think this is the foundation for the like hyper Platonism of math of Max Tegmark, who just says that everything is math.
To be honest, I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's moved on from other things, but yeah, this was some idea he was trying to put forward like 10 years ago or something.
Like, imagine what happens if, so at the moment, all these models, like physics is just an approximation. But, I mean, conceivably, we can actually approximate exactly with like zero distortion, with zero error. And then, if that happens, then, in fact, physics would be equal to math. Or in fact, it will be some specific part of math. And then, because everything else is physical, then the universe will become just math. And then me and you are also pieces of math. Wouldn't that be lovely?
Maybe.
Just become one with math.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's one way. That's one way to live forever. This will be the basis of my like math cult religion that will take over the world. Is that like, we're trying to live forever because if we live long enough, we will completely understand all of the mathematical laws of the universe, and that will enable us to become one with mathematics. And maybe that's the end goal. So maybe we should leave things off on that dream in our hearts to carry on with from this episode. But I mean, before we do you have any final parting words of wisdom to early career researchers like myself, perhaps people making the transition into the postdoc layer of hell as you described it?
Well, unfortunately, I cannot offer you any hope. Like, I don't know, it's just so hard, so much stress with all of this career uncertainty.
Well, at least we know we're not stressing alone now, right? Maybe that's the silver lining to it. I don't know.
I think what helps is if you somehow attach yourself to a trend and kind of ride the wave. And I think you're actually kind of doing that because your area is popular, is prestigious.
That's true. Yeah.
On the other hand, you will face a very hard competition.
Right, because everyone's flocking to the area. Yeah.
Another thing that I can recommend, and the most successful people that I know, I think not only they're very strong, but they're also flexible, kind of versatile. And I think you actually have this as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's something I can bring to the table. Yeah.
So if some kind of collaboration opportunity comes up, they just launch onto it.
Yeah. What is there a particular wave that you think is cresting right now in your area or something related in case anyone's watching? I mean, maybe you don't want more competition, so I shouldn't be revealing the waves of your area right now. But is there something you would recommend to people that are to keep an eye on?
Well, in analysis, I think what is hot, like operator algebras, geometric measure theory, maybe to some extent convex geometry. I think Banach space theory is getting less popular in time. The stuff that I'm doing, I don't think it was ever particularly popular.
You hipster. Why do you think Banach space theory is getting less popular? Do you think there's a reason for it, or it's just there's natural ebbs and flows of popularity as there is in like music genres, or do you think there's something you can pinpoint?
So I think there are fashions like in music, definitely. Also, I think if somebody really strong comes into an area and that increases its popularity.
Right.
Like if somebody, well, Grothendieck entering algebraic geometry immediately
Right.
increased its popularity, I think.
Right.
In Banach space theory specifically, and I'm not an actual expert in Banach spaces, I'm adjacent to it. I think it just became kind of too difficult, so all remaining problems are just too hard.
Right. Right.
And something similar also happened with general topology. Like almost all low-hanging fruit is already
Right.
plucked, so
Right.
yeah. Although I think it kind of has a resurgence now through set theory. So it is all, at least again, not an actual expert, but I think that it is now kind of stripped from almost all of geometric content, and it kind of goes into more kind of formal stuff.
Oh, interesting. I mean, I had the impression. I mean, people have told me that set theory and logic are kind of dead, but you know, there's one Discord server I'm in that's a set theory server, and it's like it does seem fairly active. So I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Okay, so that's it. What are our big takeaways? Catch a wave with collaborators, and and maybe you'll survive the postdoc layer of hell. So, well, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for. This is the first interview I think that I gave.
It may not be the last. Maybe with any luck, we'll be doing a follow up in like a year or two in Spain. Who knows? So, anyways, thank you all for watching as usual. And QE.
I'm not participating in that.
D.